Welcome to Grammy and Grandpa's Read Along channel, and today I'm going to read a special book that was given to our granddaughter Indy from her mom and pop. That's her grandparents on the other side, so from her dad's side, and is called Mrs.Toggle's Zipper. And this was actually one of Grandma Donna's books that was passed down, and it has also become one of Sarah's favorites. So I'm going to share this book with you, and I hope that you enjoy it. And make sure you watch till the end so that you know what happens, okay? It's called Mrs.Toggle's Zipper. And it's written by Robin Pulver and illustrated by R.W. Alley. Picture of the kids. They're going to school. And they're getting to the school. And now they're at school, okay? And this is what it says. When Mrs. Toggle's children arrive at the school in the morning, they change in the hall from their boots and their shoes. When the bell rang, they pick up their boots and book bags and march along to their room. They stuffed boots and bags into their cubby holes and hung their coats. Then they sat down at their desks. "Good morning, Mrs. Toggle," the children say in their best morning voices. "Good morning, class," says Mrs. Toggle in an unusually grumpy voice. So there's all their boots. Okay, so then it says, then the children noticed that Mrs. Toggle was still wearing her coat, a big, fluffy, fuchsia-colored one that she got for Christmas. "Mrs. Toggle," yelled Joey, "you forgot to take off your coat." "I didn't forget," said Mrs. Toggle uncomfortably. "I can't take it off because the zipper is stuck, and I'm afraid of going to be a long, hot day." She's feeling frustrated, huh? "How'd the zipper get stuck?" Nina asked. Mrs. Toggle found her face. "How does any zipper get stuck? First, a tiny bit of cloth gets caught in it, and then you pull and keep pulling a little too hard, and before you know it, you're trapped in your coat with a hand in a cookie jar." See, she's got that big fluffy coat on, and the kids are all looking at her. And it says, the children gathered around Mrs. Toggle's desk to see for themselves. "Yup," said Joey, "that zipper sure is stuck." The others nodded. "What's worse," said Mrs. Toggle, "is the thingamajig is gone." "The what?" said the children. "The thingamajig that you pull up the zipper with, or zipper up and down with. Mine is lost." "Oh," groaned the children. They all thought happily about their own coats hanging on hooks with the zippers open and the thingamajig still on them. See, their thingamajigs, they're hanging up their coats. "Maybe we can help," said Caroline. "It's worth a try," said Mrs. Toggle. Mrs. Toggle braced her feet on the floor. They leaned forward on the chair and held out her arms. Some children grabbed one sleeve and some the other sleeve. Paul and Nina grabbed a fistful of collar. "Now," yelled Mrs. Toggle, and everybody pulled. And everybody landed in a thud and bumps in heaps on the floor. Mrs. Toggle's collar was as far as her nose, but no farther than that. Paul wanted to get busy learning the times tables. "Mrs. Toggle," he said, "let's go to the nurse's office. Maybe Mrs. Schott can help you." So Mrs. Toggle and the children trudged down to the office of Mrs. Schott, the school nurse. When Mrs. Schott saw Mrs. Toggle's hot, red face, she reached for the thermometer and popped it into Mrs. Toggle's mouth. Mrs. Toggle shook her head. "Don't talk with the thermometer in your mouth," said Mrs. Schott sternly. "I'll telephone your mother." I don't want to mutter, mumbled Mrs. Toggle. Mouth closed, uttered Mrs. Shott. See, she's getting her temperature taken. And the children are watching. And she's looking at her. And Nina spoke up. She's not sick. She doesn't live with her mother because she's grown up. Mrs. Toggle is hot because she can't get her coat off. The zipper is stuck and the thingy-majig is lost. Then we must pull it off, said Mrs. Shott. Oh, we've tried, said Paul. This time we'll add a bandage. The nurse answered, bandages make boo-boos better. But first, Mrs. Toggle, you must take the thermometer out of your mouth. Mrs. Shott stuck a bandage on the zipper where the thingamajig was supposed to be. Then she pulled, the children pulled, and they all ended up thud, bumps, and bangs on the floor of Mrs. Shott's office. See them all? Mrs. Toggle's collar was as far as her nose, but no further. Mrs. Shott shook her head. I must call the principal. He'll know what to do with you. The principal, Mr. Stickler, left important matters on his desk to hurry to the nurse's office. Mr. Stickler frowned when he saw Mrs. Toggle. Mrs. Toggle, it's against school rules to wear your coat all day. I am sorry, said Mrs. Toggle, but I can't take my coat off. The zipper is stuck. Tell him about the thingamajig, said Nina. The what? Said Mr. Stickler? You know, said Paul. The what's it? The doodad, said Caroline. The whatchamacallit, said Joey. My students are right, said Mrs. Toggle. The thingamajig is missing from my zipper. His name is Mr. Stickler. He looks like a Mr. Stickler, yeah. The principal frowned again. Mrs. Toggle, he said, in my job, I have learned that if you want to get out of a tight spot, you must follow the rules. Pay attention, children, he said. Make 2 straight lines, 1 pull on the right arm, 1 line pull on the left. Mrs. Shott, you be responsible for the collar. I shall pull on Mrs. Toggle's feet. We've tried that, said Joey. Pulling doesn't work, Nina agreed. Did you make a straight line? Asked Mr. Stickler. That's the rule. Stay in straight lines. Now get ready. Get set. Pull. See the hammer? 2 straight lines. The children and Mrs. Shott pulled in one direction and Mr. Stickler pulled in the other. Mrs. Toggle tried to make herself small and wiggly, but with thuds, bumps, bangs, and a ker-plop, they all ended up on the floor once more. Mrs. Toggle's collar was as far as her nose, but no further than that. You see him? He's still on the floor. Mr. Stickler said, enough of this. We don't want holes on the school floor just because Mrs. Toggle's zipper. I'm calling the custodian. I'm afraid we'll have to cut that coat off. No, yelled the children, and Mrs. Toggle cried, never. The custodian, Mr. Abel, arrived wearing his big work apron, tools bulging in every pocket. Let's see, here he is. Can you see it? I'll turn it like this so you can see. Tools bulging in every pocket. He looked at Mrs. Toggle in her coat. It's a building too cold for you, he said. Maybe the thermostat's off. I'll go check. Wait, said Mr. Stickler. See, said Caroline. Mrs. Toggle can't get her coat off because the zipper is stuck. Yes, said the principal. There is a problem with the thingy-majig. Mr. Abel listened carefully. He said. I can see the pull tab is gone. The what? Said the children. Mrs. Toggle and the nurse and the principal all together. I said the pull tab is gone. Don't worry, I've seen worse. He's seen worse. Mr. Abel pulled a pair of needle-nose pliers out of one of his huge apron pockets. He used the pliers to loosen the grip of the zipper metal teeth on the shiny fuchsia colored lining of Mrs. Toggle's coat. Gently with his large fingers, Mr. Abel eased the lining away from the teeth. Then he slid the zipper down, down, down. It opened completely, and Mr. Abel helped Mrs. Toggle off with her coat. A happy smile spread over Mrs. Toggle's face. Mrs. Shott and Mr. Stickler and the children cheered. You should get a new pull tab for that zipper before you zip it up again, said the custodian. I surely will, Mr. Abel, said Mrs. Toggle. I am forever grateful to you. The principal went back to important matters. Mrs. Shott rushed off to check the child for chickenpox. Mrs. Toggle and the children traipsed back to their room to tackle the times tables. Mr. Abel pulled a small pad from his huge apron pocket and wrote himself a reminder. Remember to look up thingamajig in the dictionary. So that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. They were able to get Miss Toggle out of her coat. Thanks goodness that Mr. Abel was able to get that right. Subscribe to the channel and like the videos and invite your friends to watch with you.